So the short story we're going to analyze is A Clean, Well-Lighted Place by Ernest Hemingway. And the prompt of this analysis is to analyze how Hemingway uses literary elements and techniques to develop how the setting portrays the meaning of a man's existence. But first, let's look at the title, A Clean, Well-Lighted Place. So if we just look at the title without reading the story first, we can infer that the story will take place somewhere where it's clean and has good lighting. And so the title is actually signifying the setting of the story without the story even begins. And it can also mean that the setting is the only place that's clean in contrast to everything outside of the world. So the first paragraph, it was very late and everyone had left the cafe. So the cafe is the setting that the title mentions, and as we can imagine that the cafe will be clean with good lighting. And except an old man. So the old man is one of the characters in the story, the main character, who always sits in the cafe and he leaves late with two waiters waiting on him. So the two waiters are other characters in the story, and they know the old man that he always comes into their cafe and he always leaves late, either drunk and not paying, or he just leaves. So this is the dialogue of the waiter. So they start talking about him, and one of the waiters said that last week he tried to commit suicide. So from the dialogue of the two waiters, we can understand that the old man must be really lonely or depressed, and this can serve as the theme of the story because throughout the story that he just doesn't leave the cafe. Either he just sits there or he gets really drunk. So as we continue, they talk about how they wanted to get rid of him because it was getting really late and they wanted to go home. So one of the waiters said that he should have killed himself last week. And from this attitude of the waiter, we can figure out the tone of the story, which is um, really objective and it's straightforward when he said that the old man should have killed himself. So we can see that Hemingway doesn't really place any judgment on the characters, but rather gets straight to the point of who they really are and their emotions, and he also leaves it clean and unapologetic. So um, throughout the story, the two waiters are actually a young waiter and an old waiter, and they stand in contrast to each other. They're really different and opposite. So the young waiter is really insensitive. The characterizations, he's neglectful of the old man. He's very rude and he's self-centered. So all he wanted to do throughout the story was just leave the cafe so he can go home. And this reveals his thoughtlessness of the youth because all he cared about was going home, and he was insensitive toward the old man. It tells us that he's too self-centered to see that one day he too will become an old man and he wants people to take care of him or people to understand him. So we can depict the characterization of the young waiter as someone who's rude because of how he was talking to the old man, even though he knows the old man is deaf and can't really hear that anything he's saying. And throughout the story, he's just really rude towards the old man, and he just wants to get rid of him so he can go home to his wife and kids. Um, the characterization of the old waiter stands in contrast to the young waiter because the old waiter is actually relatable to the old man because in this evidence, he lacks everything but work, and he has never been confident and he's not young, so he can understand why the old man is there and why he's lonely or depressed. And so the characterization of the old waiter is that he registers awareness and he can visualize the terrors of human existence, loneliness, and old age because he is an old man himself. So the two waiters that are in contrast with each other, they also work in the same cafe, but the young waiter stands in sharp, ironic contrast with the old waiter who is conscious of all the despairing implications of life, and he reflects this on a larger scale with concern and sympathy towards anyone who comes into the cafe. So another literary device in the story is symbolism. So symbolism. So this evidence from the story with all those who need a light for the night. So a light for the night is actually talking about light, how light chases away their darkness in people. So that's why we're always finding the old man in the cafe because of his dark past and that he's lonely and depressed. That he wants to get rid of those by sitting in a well lighted place, which is the cafe. So it can also serve as an escape for anyone who needed to stay in the cafe. So it's an idealized space and good for lonely men to find some kind of comfort. So and it's technically like the light of the cafe, and just like how the old man is always drunk, it will push away the realization that we're all nothing in the end. So in the at the end of the story, um, the old man, he goes into the old waiter, he goes into another cafe, and he kept saying nada and nada as it is in nada. So he's saying that nothing is all nothing. So it just tells that um, human existence is temporary. It's not going to last forever. And Hemingway tries to express this by having the cafe as a place for escape from the loneliness and the darkness, but it's saying that human existence is not going to last forever. It's death is inevitable and it's going to come for everyone. So the setting contributes to that idea, the symbolism of escape. So in throughout the story, Hemingway uses literary devices such as symbolism of the cafe, tone of the story, theme, and characterizations of the two waiters to convey how the setting portrays the meaning of a man's existence.